is up, everybody? Welcome back to some Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, where I'm giving you a somewhat in-depth look at how you can plan flights. And there's two different ways we're doing it, and we're looking at commercial airliners doing IFR flights, which means instrument flight rules. So there's two types of flights, IFR and VFR. VFR is taking off, kind of just flying visually at a low altitude with a GA aircraft, and IFR is more flying A to B to C to D to get to the next airport. So we're looking at the 787, since I just did a video on a quick start guide for that. So I'm going to show you the first way, and this is the easiest way, but it's not always the best, and I'll explain why. So we're looking at flying from Tokyo Haneda, and let's go ahead and zoom in here. So let's say we choose ramp number 6 as our parking. So we'll set that as departure, and then what you want to do is you want to zoom out, and we're flying to Los Angeles. That's where we want to go. So we're going to set this as an arrival. Now, we know runway 25 right is probably what it's going to be. So that's not a big deal. Now over here in the aircraft, right now it says VFR direct GPS, which means you're just going to fly here to there. You want to hit it and swap down, or not swap down, but scroll down and do high altitude airways. And now you can see how it has a plan come up for you. And you can see all these different waypoints, Vadar, Ubio, Labid, all these are the points across the Pacific. And then what you'll do is you'll select departure and then an approach. So we're coming into 25 right. So here we're on the arrival for the Ermnums 2, and we want to select ILS 25 right. And so what's going to happen is now it's going to actually pre-program all of this into your flight management computer, which means you have 0 you have to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and load in, but first let me actually show you this. So let's go back over here to Tokyo Haneda. So you can see that there's a couple of different colors. So we have this goldish yellow line, which represents your departure. So I'm guessing we're departing here from runway 16 left, and it tells us come out here. Realistically, I feel like we'd probably be given some sort of vector by ATC, and this is the route you take. And then here at Utibo is when you pick up your actual routing. So Utibo all the way over here to Burgle is your routing, and then you'd pick up your star, which is standard terminal arrival. And so you come in, you go through DeWitt, Crowley, and you come in here, and then this is when you pick up your approach, which is the ILS 25 right approach, which this kind of curve is kind of weird. I'd expect it to be more of a from here direct in, probably some sort of vectoring by ATC, and you pick up ILS right here and come in and land. Pretty simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit fly, and I will catch y'all in the sim, because it'll take a few seconds and no reason to waste 30 seconds of your time. So I will see you in just a millisecond for me and you. And just like that, we're back. And I was trying to decide whether or not I want to do all this, but we're going to do a quick start just so y'all can see kind of how I do it. So we'll get the APU going, we'll get the battery on. So it's dark out, you're going to want to come over here, and let's see if I can get it. So you have the overhead panel lights and the dome lights. Those are your two friends. Overhead panel is going to light up all of those little strips and everything, and the dome's going to give you some pretty decent lighting. So the other thing is, let's see, we get the glass panel on, and you can get the flood on. I don't like the flood. I mean, it's good, but it's just kind of annoying to me. And then if I'm correct, the other one's over here. So yeah, this far right one you want to spin up, and right down here, if I can get it, oops, from the rudder some. Yeah, this is the issue. You can get that floodlight going, and that'll pretty much give you all the light you need. I think, Let's see. Okay, just adjusting my brightness a little bit. And you can also do that. And there you go. You have a pretty lit up cockpit. This should, from what I recall, this one down here should, it normally does light up that, but I might have missed something. Occasionally I miss something sometimes, like double check. Oh well. It's you know, it's not the end of the world. I can still see fine. So we're gonna come over here and we're gonna hit root. So as you can see, it's already gotten the RJTT and KLAX, which is the 4-letter codes for Haneda and Los Angeles, and just populate a random flight number. And already has our runway selected. So you can go ahead and go to your route page. And now that we're here, I'm pulling the speed brake back just to get it out of my way. You can hit next, and you'll see that we have our Isolgo 2. Anytime you see something like that, via, that is your departure. Hit next, we can see a lot of directs. And finally, we come here where it didn't seem to populate our arrival, which is kind of weird. But if you want to double check, you can hit legs. And so you can see so 1,100 feet, 3,100 feet, 6,000 feet, then flight level 41.0, which is 41,000 feet. We can come here, see a lot of that. But in the legs page, we have the arrival. So sometimes it doesn't always pop up in the routing. That's just the game. Not a big deal. So what I normally do is I go to ident, we check that. Then we go to POS, and so we want to do, let's see, RJTT, and you can put in the gate. I don't exactly know the gate we're at, so I'll just click that. Actually, sorry, I want GPS pause. You just click it and you put it right down there, and that just tells it. So if you put in your gate, it should populate the exact coordinates of the gate, and you put it there. Then you go to route, perfinite. So I've not been able to get the cost index to work, so let's try something like 18. Oh, it works now. Okay. Reserves, let's just throw on an arbitrary number. So that works. 25 is very high on the reserves. So it's always going to populate a cruise altitude. 410 is pretty high up. But the 87 is capable of doing it. 410 is a pretty normal altitude for it. So we'll leave it. But if you want to change it, you can type in, let's try 390. So that means 39,000. So the way flight level works is you just, wherever the decimal point is, so if it's 1,000 feet, you move the decimal 2 places to the left. So it would be flight level 010, which is 1,000 feet. So flight level 100, 10,000, or flight level 390 is, if you want to move from flight level, you just move the decimal place from right there, 2, add 2 zeros, 39,000. You should be able to type in, or just that. You can go ahead and execute. That just pretty much is saying, okay, everything, I've entered everything here that I want. Go ahead and, kind of just push it. You're kind of pushing an update. Thrust limiter, I've never really messed with it. That's just me. Takeoff. Now, flaps 129 knots. Let's, so we can put in, say, flaps. Well, that's weird. I can't calculate. Usually it'll be flaps 10 or, personally, I'm always just with flaps 15. That's just kind of my across the board thing. It always works. You can see your V1 speed, your rotate speed, and V2. So, and this is a very personal thing. Just one thing I do. So if I was taking off in this, I would set the autopilot to 190. I always put the autopilot 10 above the V2 speed, just because I don't know. That's just a personal thing I've always done. Thrust limiter, and you're good. So you can go to index and you're pretty much good. So the approach is not working. I don't know why. So as far as I know, there's no real way to calculate your approach speed. You just kind of have to guesstimate. Now it says 129 knots there. The Dreamliner, I think that actually might not be that might be around the right speed for landing. Now, I've been coming in 10 under the V1 speed as my or sorry, 10 under the rotate speed. But I need to see if I can find the calculator. There is a calculator out there, or I'll just bring in my quality sim from P3D and start using that to get an idea of what appropriate landing speed is. But besides that, if you have that ready, you are good to go. So I'm going to do a cut. I'm going to reload this flight, and I'll teach you how to manually do a load a flight plan into the aircraft. And then what we'll do is I'll show you how to just use the autopilot after that. So I'll catch you in a second. And we are back here in Tokyo Haneda. So I want to start off with something first. So I'm using simbrief.com. Honestly, it's my go-to for flight planning. So what we're doing is I've already kind of put in some stuff. Flying from RJTT to KLAX, and I need to select the aircraft, and we're using a Boeing 787-10 here. Just go kind of fill in some stuff. So here's what it's showing us. We have our scheduled en route time, our departure and arrival, runways expected, and here's our routing. So what we can do is we can kind of click through some of the selected routes. So you can see the nautical miles, and it'll tell you kind of what it is in terms of routing. So in real life, flying a direct route is probably impossible, really. So like this route is 1.8% longer than the direct route, which is pretty good because you're going across the ocean. You have to deal with ETOPS and being within range of a diversion airport, as well as your departure and arrival. So we're going to go ahead and pick this, and we're going to analyze route, and we're all good to go. So we're going to hit one other thing is reserve fuel. 60 minutes is what I go with usually, unless it's one of those flights where 60 minutes might be too much. If I'm doing a flight from like Chicago to like Minneapolis, I don't need 60 minutes of reserve fuel. 30 minutes should be fine. On this flight, I just go with 60. It's just kind of, it's what it suggests. I go with it. So here we have everything. You can see our diversion airports. So Midway, and then I don't know what that is. Oh, Yakuta. ETOP suitable. This is Midway. It should be at least. And let's see, Sapporo. I'm thinking. Maybe, no, not Sapporo. Oh, that's Kumamoto near Vlad. I don't even know. So you can kind of just see where our diversion is in ETOP. So that's like where we are about to be kind of in like our max diversion range from one airport. Diversion time 3:31. So you can kind of see some interesting stuff on this, as well as here's all your very basic information. So like winds, more winds, and any kind of weird movements. Some really interesting stuff. So what we'll do is, once you have this, I'm just going to go ahead and move this onto my other screen. And we're going to come back over here. So what we want to do is, it shows us this page first. I'm going to go to POS ident, and then we're doing RJTT. And then pulling our GPS position. We're going to go to route, and so it's RJTT. And then KLAX. Perf. And actually, we don't need to go perf yet. Go to route, and we're going to hit next. And so on this, you see that it has the Psi 3. You actually skip inputting that, and this is at least the way I do it. So I'm going to start with, let's see, SYE. Oh, sorry, that's the VIA. So it's SYE. There we go. and then you always select the top, and then you go TLD, and you go keep going down, inputting everything. It's a pretty long process, and then so you should see how it says direct. So DCT means direct, which means you don't put anything in this via. But let's see if we see anything. Not seeing any off the bat. So if I'm correct, let me go ahead and input a few more things so I can show you. So we want add nap. And then, oh, so it already pre-programmed. So on here, you should see where it says OTR7, where it's not separated by a direct. That means that this is the routing. So it's kind of like this is a city. So think of this as maybe some random city. This is where you live right here, and this is the city. And this is the routing you're getting. So instead of taking the highway, this is instead of saying you're going on you know, Church Street, then West Burbank, and then East Burbank, and then all these streets, this is just like, oh, you're taking Highway 1, which is a routing, something like that. That might not be the best way to explain it, but if we come over here to the legs page, let's go here, and we'll just go ahead and execute. And legs, you can kind of see that it fills in a few things. Although it really didn't do it much this time. So we're going to go... Okay. So, long story short, I'm not going to program in the entire routing. It's just not worth it. We're going to go here to our departure. And y'all get the idea. Departure, and we're going to choose the SYE3. And you'll notice this is one that allows us to use any runway. So, ooh. All of a sudden we started getting some lag and some stuttering. Kind of weird. So let's hit NU. And we'll zoom out. Oh, Lord, the lag is really random. So you can see the output of the airport here. And I think we wanted 3-4 left is what we were wanting. So we're going to select 3-4 left there, and then route. And now activate that. And you can kind of come over here. So cost index, we'll make up and we'll say 18. And reserves, we'll just say 15. Arbitrary number. And cruise altitude, we'll do 390. Pretty normal cruise altitude. And we'll hit index, and I always wait to apply the arrival until I get closer, because sometimes, especially on VATSIM, your arrival will get changed up as you get closer. Just kind of, especially in these long flights, you have 9 hours till you get there. You can go without having the arrival until you get closer, especially adding in the approach. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead, and now that we have all that ready, go back to init ref. And for some reason, the flaps thing is not working on this. You should be able to put in like flaps 15. That's weird. V2 is 189. So we're going to come up here. So this is your basic autopilot. I don't know where this lag has come from. I am sorry about it. It's not terrible, but it's annoying. It's not as smooth as it should be. See? But we'll just kind of have to deal with it. So right here is your speed, so we're going to turn that down to 199er. This is your heading, so pretty straightforward. Where your nose is when it goes to the left or right. This is your altitude, and so the bottom one increases by groupings of 1,000, while the top little knob is the 100. So 21,000 and 390. We're just going to put in 390. Now normally flying at departure. Actually, we'll do this. So let's hit legs. And that's weird. So it kind of... This FM seems a little weird, but our departure is very short. So normally on something like this, you'd probably get a lot of vectoring. So we're just going to do 390. And usually on VATSIM, they'll be like climb, maintain, 6,000, expect flight level 390, 10 minutes after departure. And then they'll tell you, oh, clear to maybe 210. And then clear to 390. This here is your vertical speed. So this is a great way if you want to start descending a little earlier in a nice slow descent. You could do stuff with VNAV. I normally just do it manually. I just prefer the control. So, what we're gonna do is I will catch you all on the runway and give you a quick takeoff and show you how it activates stuff. So until then, have a good one. I don't know why I'm not signing off. I'm an idiot. I'll see you in 30 seconds. And we are back now here at the runway. Hold short. So we have flaps down, set to 15 degrees. Let's go ahead and flop off taxi, turn on strobe, get our landing lights on, and we will let our parking brake up. And I'm going to give her a little juice, and we're going to go ahead and taxi on. So I'm going to take this position. So remember, anytime you're on any sort of active runway, whether you're taxiing across it or getting ready to take off or land, you need to have your your landing lights on. So I think the hotkey for that is Control L. Okay, let's see if I can turn her. I've been having issues getting her to turn. Like I am it's kind of weird. Like I'm full like hard right. She takes a bit to turn, so it's one of those things you might have to brake check her for a second. Okay, let's reset. The weird texture stuff going on over there. Don't know what that's about, but you know what? I'm not gonna focus on it. Okay, so we're not best lineup, but it's not my worst lineup either. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and power her up. Now remember, 189 is our golden number, and you should see it over here. You should see the V speeds. So there we go. $110. So wow, she's already airborne. So this is one of the issues with this plane. The speeds apparently were kind of messed up, not a biggie. So we have gear up. Now this is a personal preference, but if I'm on VATSIM, which normally I am, I go ahead and switch on autopilot and turn on LNAV. So let's hit that button, get us full screen over there, and she's gonna turn on. And we have our vertical speed on. So we're going to be climbing at a rate of 2,600 feet. So she's not climbing. She's been really weird, but also part of it is usually the planes will prioritize speed before altitude, so they'll get you up to speed, and then now we're going to start creating altitude. We got a beautiful shot of Tokyo over there on the left. Making this little bank turn right here. And there we go. And now I'm going to throw on VNAV. And we're going to pull up flaps 10. Now, one of the I guess actually two of the issues we've had and I've seen ground flaps full is the autopilot is still very weird, especially VNAV. So be very careful when using VNAV and LNAV. Like look at that, she blew over the speed, and she's still going over the speed, and so be very careful. That's why honestly I'm not even going to use VNAV for a long time. Just to the fact of how, and now it cut back. So be very careful using VNAV. That seems to be an issue across that. The autopilot on the airliners are still really, 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 really buggy. There we go, shot Tokyo. So that's something to keep in mind. Let's see how she responds after we're getting ready to hit the 250. Because we were actually probably in that case, that would have been, as long as we were, or for the amount of time we were over speed, we probably were going to call if we were on VATSIM saying, hey, you need to slow down. So that's it. I'm not going to go over how to do ILS approaches simply because that's not even something that's working now. I've tried it. I might have done it wrong. It's just not worth it. The issues we've seen with that. One little thing I will share a quick tip. See, a lot of people have asked, hey, how'd you get this screen big? So when you're in this setting, you know, you have over here, what you want to do is you want to hit ND. ND's go bring up the navigation display, and you just hit this ICAST button. You have your secondary stuff over here. You have the big boy over here. And yeah, so thank you everybody for stopping by for this actually kind of long video about 787 routing and autopilot. So until next time, you'll have a good one. Goodbye.